Hi, Mike Gibson, Charlie Chambers here, live from SCAI 2015. Charlie, we're talking about Cath lab safety and radiation safety. Boy, kind of scary some of the reports you read about 7 times higher risk of, brain tumors on the left side of the head. You see a third to 40% or maybe even more of us have orthopedic injuries. Talk to us about some of the safety efforts being made at SCAI.
Yes, and I think what's important about radiation safety is you look at the patients and you look at the operators.
Yes.
And if I can talk first about the patients,
Yes.
and tell you what I think's been done since the mandate sent out from the FDA in 2010. All industry has been, all fields, not just interventional, but in interventional, we're seeing up to 70% reduction in dose due to quantification of imaging.
Well, we hadn't really measured it that well in the past, and now in real time we're all seeing the dosimetry and we're much more cognizant of it.
Very cognizant.
Yeah.
And since I published a paper through SCAI in 2011 for radiation safety in the cardiac catheterization lab. We talked about since 2006, it's no longer just fluoro time, it's actual dose that we're monitoring.
Yes.
And the dose effects, once you know what the patient gets,
right,
and appreciate quality, because you can always make image quality a little better by increasing dose.
Sure.
But just because it looks better isn't what you need.
Doesn't mean you're taking better care of the patient.
That's right. That's right. So people are more aware, and when you're taking better care of the patient and you're watching the dose for the patient,
yes,
you're doing better for the operator and the staff.
Absolutely. The other thing we need to do a better job of, we need to educate people that dye is not your friend. First words out of my mouth in every case, too much contrast. It's too much contrast. All these pus, that we need to do good work on the dye as well, don't you think?
Well, you make an excellent point. And I think that the issues for contrast, the issues for radiation, is to manage dose from the beginning of the case.
Right.
You don't wait until you look at the bottle and say, oh, shoot.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, where'd that go?
Where'd the bottle go? Or you don't wait until the buzzers start going off on radiation and say, now I'll pay attention.
Right.
You manage dose, contrast, radiation from the beginning of the case.
What about not just staff, but patients? Are we doing anything to educate patients about here's what to look for? If you had a long case, if you did have a lot of exposure, do we send them home with some materials? Does SCAI develop some teaching materials for patients?
Yeah, excellent point. One thing I've been fortunate enough through Steve Balter, physicist at Columbia. I've known him for years. He's been very active in SCAI. And in that relationship, he got me in what's called the National Council of Radiation Protection. And they published in 2011, I believe, their standards that look at multiple levels.
Yes.
Dose management all the way through follow-up.
Right.
And in our 2011 PCI, ACC, SCAI, AHA, PCI guidelines, we for the first time had guidelines recommendation, not just for monitoring dose and recording dose and report, but for follow-up. So there are grades.
Good.
Of where you need to, because there are threshold, as you know, there's threshold doses that need to be followed up, and you don't see it post-case.
Right.
You see it 2 to 4 weeks later.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the tough part is they go to the family doc, or the patient sees them themselves, and they think it's tied.
Right.
It's dermatitis.
Have you changed your detergent?
Yeah.
Well, and the poor guy or woman's asleep during the case practically, and they may not even know how much dose they receive or something. So we really got to send them home with some good materials. Any other lessons for the audience out there, Charlie?
I think you covered it fantastic because you really need to manage it from the beginning of the case. You need to be taught, and though there are some risks for the operator for the protective management, if we get dose down, then we can reduce. For ourselves, the protective garb and all those things. I think that's the next step.
Right. Charlie, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all of you for joining us here live from SCAI 2015.